你好，欢迎收听随行汉语 Welcome to Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niu Niu. And this is a special edition of our show. My colleague Ma Jing recently visited Beijing Language and Culture University, where she met a group of UK students studying Mandarin, along with the teachers who are accompanying them. It turns out that the students are here for an exciting 11-day summer camp packed with language learning and cultural experiences. In this episode, Ma Jing talks to one of the Chinese teachers, Chen Baiyan. She has been teaching Mandarin in the UK for over 7 years. Chen shares her experience teaching Chinese along with some handy experiences and useful tips for learners. Is pinyin the most important starting point for Mandarin? How can we create an immersive learning environment if you're not in China? Let's hear her take on that.
Hello, I'm Ma Jing, and today we are in Beijing Language and Culture University. I have a special guest here. I'm joined by Chen Baiyan.
Hello, 你好.
So many of our listeners are actually Chinese language learners from across the world. So you are a Chinese teacher. I'm sure you have lots of insights to share with our listeners. Could you tell us a bit about yourself first?
Oh yeah, I'm Baiyan Chen. The student also call me Miss Chen, and I teach Mandarin in UK for more than 7 years. And also I finished my master degree there, and I become full qualified teacher in UK and to start my Mandarin teacher career in the UCL Academy.
More than 7 years, so there must be a lot of stories.
Yeah.
So do you remember any funny moments or interesting moments?
Definitely. The first one is for my first lesson I want to mention. The UK students quite different as for Chinese students. They're quite challenged. Their behavior is very hard to manage, and they're not following teacher's instruction. So the first lesson is quite cannot deal with for their behavior. It's very tough for me. During that time, I'm doubt, does this is the real things that I want to be a teacher in the UK, and but my mentor encouraged me. And after the first lesson, I reflect for myself. From myself to learn how to deal with their behavior, how to give the clear instruction, and let them calm down. So after the first lesson, I gradually, step by step, become more and more qualified teacher.
That sounds like a hard work.
Yeah, it's really hard.
So do you find your job rewarding?
Yeah, the job rewarding one is for myself, I've become more and more patient. And also the other things, even the student behavior is very challenged, but I can feel very worthy to be the teacher, and it's quite rewardable and let me to, especially when they mention for Miss Chen or 你好, Chen 老师, like this one. Anytime, even I feel very struggle to manage their behavior, but as long as they mention to me with Chinese, I'm so super great.
So has teaching students from different cultures ever changed your views about Chinese culture?
Yes, I think for me, I want be more patient, let students understand the culture different. And also I use the third version to see what's the difference between the Western view and for the Chinese view. I would like them to understand both for each side. We can get a neutral way. I'd be great for both parts. I think that's quite great.
That's great. So when I am learning English, I always think which one teacher is better. Should I learn from a native speaker directly, or should I learn from someone who's from the same background as I am? Maybe a Chinese teacher teaching me English. So what do you think? Who could have more advantage? Maybe a teacher like you, a totally native speaker.
I'm more recommended for both sides, because for the if you have go whole of the Chinese English teacher one, they have let you get more very strict and also very fixed system of the grammar one, and for the keywords meaning of that will be like you can build for the system very fast and very solid. And for the if you get for native speaker one, that you can to let your language skills improve quite a lot, especially for the authentic and spontaneously. That's very great.
Great. Okay, so let's talk about the language itself, some language tips for our listeners. So when we start learning a new language, especially Chinese, so where should we start? What do you think? Should we start with pinyin? Because I remember this how like we as Chinese kids were taught first in school pinyin. What do you think?
I will more highlight for the Hanzi characters to them. And we will start from numbers. As numbers just stroke order 1, 2, 3, first line, second line, third line. It's really easy to the student, let them to writing down. And also based on the characters, we have the culture lesson inside of this one, also cultural version inside of this. We can introduce the writing the characters from left to right, from top to down. That's really interesting things for the student to get to know. And also we'll combine the Chinese characters with the Jiaguwen together with the picture, because the student will be easy to identify the picture based on the picture, and they have meaning inside, and we can let for the student guessing what's the meaning of that one. For example, for the shan is a mountain one. We are just drawing for 3 triangle things together in the whiteboard, and then let student mention what's this guessing, and the student immediately get the answer. It's definitely a mountain. So that's a very great one, because for the nowadays, based on the reading and the research mentioned, the Chinese characters is only one language have the characters with the meaning we combine together.
So
also, the first lesson we will introduce the newspaper. We'll bring for the authentic materials newspaper, hand out to students, let them to read. You can see the whole of Chinese life. We just know pinyin. You only read for Chinese characters. So if you want to study far away from Chinese, learn more deeper of Chinese Mandarin, you definitely need to get to know of the Chinese characters to identify. That is your journey.
But do you think that's a little bit hard for students, the newspaper?
The newspaper definitely very hard to learn, and it's not, we don't ask them to read of that one. We'll ask the student to get the environment, to get the feeling of that one. You can see the real Chinese life will be, all the things will happen in Chinese characters without any pinyin. So don't rely on the pinyin, just try to write down the Chinese characters to identify that. That'd be great.
Great. So why do you think students are taking Chinese class?
Because when we have the parents' evening, and we ask to our parents why you want to choose for Mandarin, why do you want your children to choose Mandarin? The first one we have because the student really were enjoying of the Mandarin, because we have a taste lesson at least for 3 months at the beginning of the every academic year. The whole of the student will be just to taste the Spanish, German, and the Mandarin. And they are for Mandarin, so this time our Mandarin teacher will be show off our skills to get more attractive of this lesson. And the student quite enjoying to learn of this time. And also the parents mentioned to me that they think the Chinese economic grow very fast, and they think that maybe in the future Chinese language is it means future. So please let my children to learn of this language.
So what mistakes do you think students often make?
The student mistake will be the stroke order cannot to follow the left to right,
yes.
up to down. And also you cannot imagine what's the characters they are writing. It's really hard to identify.
Yes.
Their handwriting very bad.
So how do you help them overcome the difficulty? Because in China, we may use 字帖. But do you also use?
Yeah, we are used for the Chinese characters worksheets. For that one, we are print out for there'll be shadow of the characters. For example, for the mi fan, the first 2 characters is for the shadow one. You just make the shadow following us and continue to writing. That one very helpful. And also we are doing let them to read more Chinese authentic materials for the reading one, same as our way to learn English. I think the more input will let the student to get to know more output in the future to learn Mandarin. That's great.
And also, do you think there's a shortcut to learning Chinese? Maybe you can provide us with some useful tips.
Oh, the useful tips for the culture part, I think. I have one student, he learned Mandarin as for his A-level subjects. That means he will choose Mandarin for his anti-university exam. And during that exam, they should use the characters to write down for the neural and films and analyzations text. All of this one will be writing down in characters, just like our 阅读理解. That's very, very hard. But he finds it's really, really great for his journey to learn Chinese. And he's quite enjoying of this one. Especially he mentioned for the 小说, for fiction, for the 一只叫凤的鸽子, the special page, and he's quite enjoying to read of that version. It's a very lovely one.
So you mentioned a lot about the connection between language and the culture. You also organize a lot of cultural activities. what part of the culture thing that students like and what part they don't like? What do you think?
The really enjoyable one for students maybe the chopsticks one. They use of chopsticks not often. We can have this competition that to get different bowls of that one with chopsticks and have the taste of chopsticks lesson or workshop. And the other one, because I think very interesting, is for the calligraphy. Because in the UK, they didn't use any calligraphy lesson. They have the art lesson, but they don't use that style of brush to drawing and to writing down the characters. That's a whole different system for the West side and the Chinese side. So I think very interesting and different. They're quite enjoying this.
Great. So is there anything they don't like? Maybe they think it's a little bit boring or dull?
The boring one is for writing down homework. Homework, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they keep complaining about the Mandarin have a lot of homework. Why? But I just mentioned, you will learn the language. Language, that means you have to in the atmosphere, in the environment. So it means more input and you can get output. So I encourage my students every day 10 minutes for Mandarin. Practice, that'd be great for you to learn Mandarin. Please have this habit, please.
Okay, that's funny. So here's a funny one because I understand sometimes people get confused by translation because we have some things that doesn't translate properly because sometimes you heard 小心地滑, but sometimes people translate as sleep carefully. So which is actually mean that the floor is slippery. So do you often see these kind of situation?
The sentence order is very hard for the students to learn Mandarin, but I will encourage them to. For example, we have the PTMA sentence structure, let them to memory in their mind. For example, will be person, time, action with someone, go to some place, buy some transport, and then to do the action. That will be easier for the student to learn Chinese and that easy to adopt for this long sentence. This long sentence is the correct Chinese sentence order, but once you translate into the English, that should change the order. So I also ask students, you should figure out by yourself because you are an English speaker, so you should get the order correctly to translate from the Chinese to the English one. Show off your English to me, please.
Now some of students are actually traveling in China through this summer camp. So do you think they feel culture shocked?
The culture shock one, the toilet paper one. Oh, yeah, because in UK, all toilet paper can be put into the toilet, but in China we have a special bin. That's one. There's not adjusted, but so far they're okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other one is payment. They mentioned the payment since it's very different. In UK, we still need to use the cash to make the payment. And in China, we encourage you to use the mobile payment. I think it's very convenient. And all my students get for WeChat Pay already before we departure here. So, and they are quite like to use of the WeChat phone to scan every QR code and to get payment. They're quite enjoying of this.
So what's the most enjoyable experience so far in this trip?
Every day is quite enjoyable. My students keep mentioning it's quite great one. It's so lovely. Miss, I want to stay in China. Please let me stay in China, please. Yesterday we're going to Great Wall. And student mentioned, please let me climb the Great Wall more and longer and longer. But I don't want to go to afternoon's activity. I just want to go more Great Wall. Please let me go there.
Wow. I also learned when they are having a Chinese lesson here in this university in Beijing, Culture and Language University. So they are totally taught in Chinese, not English. So can they be used to that?
Yeah, I think this one is great for my student because you are in the country and we cannot rely on the pinyin and English translation. And also you can use of your learning skills to figure out what's the meaning of teacher mentioned. And sometimes teacher will explain to you with a little bit English, but you can base on that one to guessing. And this one is also one part for learn language skills. And it will be great for the student to get them input more of Chinese language.
Okay, if you can only introduce 5 Chinese expressions, maybe words, phrases, or sentences to our listeners, what would they be?
The first one is for yesterday we've been to Great Wall. The definitely will be 不到长城非好汉. And all my UK students know of this sentence. So encourage them. You have to clap more. You are great people to prove you are great people. That's a very great one. And the other one will be 很好吃. Because the people to learn Chinese and all my students mention is Chinese food is very great. They quite like Chinese different snacks and the 奶茶. Oh, this one is quite great for them to taste and to try of them. And it's the second one is 很好吃. The third one is 便宜一点 to bargain one. The student quite like to bargain in the market, in the shop to mention 便宜一点 do that competition. They think it's very enjoying to do that. It's 很好玩 很好玩 because this one is very easy to pronounce and very easy to memory of these keywords in their mind. So any reason when you're asking why do you like play basketball, they mention 很好玩. Why do you like swim? 很好玩. Anything will become 很好玩.
Yes.
So it's a very useful key adjective to mention why you like these things.
Yeah.
The other one will be, I think, will be another one is for idioms. For example, 人山人海. Because we learn the 山 and 海 and the people quite early, and in the first stage at the beginning of the Chinese learners. So that idioms is very easy for them to identify what's the meaning of that one, 人山人海. So, and also you can introduce for another system about for the culture and for the idioms system to them. That you know we have the 4 characters together will become for the idioms. That's great, and you can show off your language skills. Please give me more. So the student will mention 我有五花八门的爱好.
Oh,
yeah, that's great one. And also I mean 车水馬龍 like this.
Great. So just to clarify, so 人山人海 literally means people, mountain people say, but it actually means
a lot of people are crowded.
Yes. And also 我有五花八门的爱好.
Yeah.
That's kind of like saying I have a lot of hobbies. So do they also know people, mountain people say those kind of Chinglish?
Yeah. Sometimes we will introduce Chinglish to students because of the keywords. Word by word translation is that one. And the student will have easy to memory for the Chinglish. It's quite great for them.
So you mentioned a lot of fun ways to learn Chinese. For example, through games, newspaper, or something else. What kind of fun ways do you recommend our listeners to do?
Maybe you can play the game to the flashcards, very easy one. Yeah, to make flashcard and to cover out this one, try to test yourself about this. And this one will be like every day to see the characters. And as long as you see this one every day, it definitely will be easy to memory the keywords. And also, not only for the flashcard, you can put the keywords in the long sentence and try to memory the sentence. That'd be great. Also, even for the long essay or the assignment one would be great. Because for just like our learn the English version, as long as we read quite long story, we memory of this one. That the authentic sentence will be put in our mind. We have this feeling of that, and that will be easy for us to learn continuing part.
One last question. What message would you want to share with our listeners who are currently learning Chinese from around the world? Could you share one sentence of encouragement to them, maybe?
I think for the Mandarin, don't feel it's very hard. Please challenge yourself. The Mandarin is very special and unique. And also the other one means you have more skills that will help you for your future life. Totally great. Try to practice Chinese characters and to read more Chinese story, to do more input and output. That'd be fantastic for your learning Chinese.
So thank you, Ms. Chen, for sharing your incredible story with us and also your useful tips. And I hope our dear listeners, you have also learned something through our discussion today. And please leave a comment, tell us what you think. Bye for now.